Freight crime is a massive hindrance to the trucking industry.
Freight crime is seen as being low risk and high reward to the criminals that are committing freight crime.
We will see organised gangs come in on another HGV and have that away within 5 minutes.
They understand police tactics, they understand CCTV surveillance, they know which haulage companies have got contracts to move certain goods around the UK. My name's Mike Dauber, I'm a serving police officer and I work for the National Vehicle Crime Intelligence Service, or NaVCIS. For 22 years I've been a police officer. I've been investigating vehicle crime for the majority of my service. I was stolen vehicle examiner at Cheshire Police. I worked on quite a lot of cases involving stolen plant, machinery, thefts of tractors, diggers and such like. I had been involved with lorry crime and freight crime before in the past, and as I say, it was more of a natural progression to move over to work for NaVCIS. Well, in relation to national lorry crime and freight crime, we've worked hard over the last 7 years now to better educate police, business and industry around national freight crime. We at NaVCIS are the bridge between policing and industry, and as I say, we're working in partnership with the British International Freight Association to more better educate and prepare businesses in relation to these types of offences. So last year NaVCIS supported 48 policing operations just around lorry crime and freight crime in the UK last year. We also was notified of 325 arrests for UK freight crime last year. There's an awful lot of good work that's going on. Prior to starting this role, I'd been involved around serious and organised crime for a long time, but my perception back then was that they involved opportunist thieves. I went with a particular police force along the M1 on a nighttime operation, and despite us having extensive resources at those motorway service stations, there was a particular group of organised teams of thieves that managed to commit a curtain slashing to remove bulk items of goods from a lorry, and that was probably the pivotal moment that made me realise just how organised these offences are.
My name is Ross Mendenhall and I'm the Operations Director for Extra Motorway Service Area Group. We are here to provide a rest stop for people driving on the strategic road network, the motorways. And we need to provide a place where people can rest, refresh and refuel 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And we see through our 8 locations around 26 million vehicles a year, which is around 40 million people through our doors. When we think about HGV, many of our sites will bring in around 1,000 HGVs per day, which is around 4 to 10% depending on the sites of the overall quantum of vehicles that come in. With that, then brings the challenges of where do you park them on a site, and often the planning dictates where you put them and build them in an MSA, and they're often at the start or the very back of an MSA, so that we can get that segregation from a safety aspect when they're travelling around the site. So it's quite difficult to build secure truck parking, which then opens up that frustration and difficulty where freight crime comes alive at our sites. And unfortunately, we don't obviously encourage it, want criminals to attend our sites and do this to the customers, because It really degrades that customer experience. It causes a huge knock-on for hauliers with meeting their deliveries on time. You know, the cost on their bottom line is significant. Their insurance costs go through the roof. So it's a really, really tough one to find a solution for.
Freight crime is seen as being low risk and high reward to the criminals that are committing freight crime. When I joined the police 20 odd years ago, we used to see in those days people holding up post offices and building societies. Your cute switched on criminals have moved on now, and they don't do post office jobs and they don't do building society jobs because risk and reward, if you were to go and hold up a post office, rightly so, you will get 15 to 20 years in prison, and rightly so. So cargo theft and freight crime is seen as being a low risk, high reward crime type. The seriously organised teams of thieves are favouring the sneak up, non-confrontational offences because they know that it's categorised as a theft from a motor vehicle. The criminals understand how the police work. At the end of the day, it's just the same as having your sunglasses stolen out of your glove box, your sports bag stolen out of your boot. And the criminals understand that. They understand police tactics, they understand CCTV surveillance, they know which haulage companies have got contracts to move certain goods around the UK. So they will travel to certain motorway service stations, certain routes and certain truck stops to deliberately target certain goods.
We will see organised gangs come in on another HGV, park up next to a vehicle that they've identified as their mark, and when that driver is asleep, they open up the curtain siders of both vehicles and they can take the entire load of 40 tonnes of whatever product it might be, whether it's electronics, alcohol, makeup or what have you, and have that away within 5 minutes, and nobody is aware of what's happened. And that's how sophisticated this is. So, you know, for our people on the ground and our security guards, it's really, really tough to watch and find that happen. And if you were to find that crime happening in progress, what do you do? As a director of the business, would it be reasonable for me to ask our employees to put themselves in harm's way to try and prevent the crime from happening in situ? The answer to that, in reality, it is no. You never know what these people are capable of. And at times, what the employees go through and see happen and how they can be threatened prevents them from coming to work, and in some cases, they just leave their job. And that is a real sad thing to have to do when you come to work and you're proud of what you do and you want to do a great job. To not feel safe is a real tough one.
Last year, NaVCIS received 4,789 incidents or notifications of UK lorry crime and cargo theft. That came to an estimated combined cost price loss value of £111 million. We've done some work with one of our trusted partners at NaVCIS, and they believe that if it was £111 million, that the true value would probably look more like 7 times that figure. And it's probably costing the UK in the region of about 700 million a year just from lorry crime and freight crime.
I don't believe the police have the right amount of resources, in truth, to work on vehicle crime. It's perceived to be a low-level crime where there are very low penalties. So the amount of work that has to go in to solving organised crime through freight theft is, I'm not saying not worth their time, but it feels that way to me, in truth. You know, when crime happens on our site and we call out to the police, it's very rare that we get attendance in any kind of investigation into what happens.
In order for us to have any significant reduction in these offences, the UK needs to adopt secure truck parking rather than safe truck parking. There's a big difference between safe parking and secure parking. last year, NaVCIS received 1,500 notifications of lorry crimes in motorway service stations, and they're deemed to be safe. They're deemed to be safe because they're on the network. They should be heard standing. There may be CCTV, there may be ANPR, and yet last year 1,500 offences. So we are quite clear that the UK needs to adopt more secure truck parking. Myself and Mike Yerwood from the TT Club recently was invited for 12 months to work on a secure truck parking standards report for the Department of Transport, is task and finish group around secure truck parking. The research that we've undertook in relation to freight crime and secure truck parking, there's been 6 common themes that have emerged. And those 6 common themes are around having adequate perimeter fencing, having segregation of public areas from truck parking areas, having CCTV on site, adequate lighting, barrier or controlled access, and also having security guards on site. The truck stop at the Red Lion on the M1 at Northampton is a great example. They've invested heavily in being able to get both TAPA, the Transported Assets Protection Association certification, and also another certification called Park Mark Freight.
My name is Ali Sirudin, and I'm the owner and operator of the Red Lion truck stop in Northampton. We are, I guess, a medium to large truck stop, 160 HV spaces, 24-hour fuel station, truck wash, and Park Mark Freight accredited and TAPA accredited secure site. There's 3 parts of the truck stop that are really important, and security is, I guess, for us, a really big part of that. We basically did a massive upgrade in 2018 when we did the planning for the fuel station. We spent 150,000 on security on site. NaVCIS, we worked closely with them. When we were designing the site, they had a big input with us. So our site's like a secure by design site, and they had a big help in that with Northampton Police. That includes everything from ANPR cameras coming into site, fence detection perimeter systems, PTZs that will track movement, and we've got infrared cameras at night. We've also got 2 guards on site 24 hours that patrol the site, and they work together with the police to make sure that if there's any incidents, they're picked up really quickly and dealt with so that there's no loss or damage to any vehicles on site. We're part of a package with insurance as well. So if you've got a really high value load and your insurance needs specific site to park up, we're one of 4 in the UK that you've got to come to park up and your insurance will be valid. Really upgraded everything. So the food offering, the showers and toilets, the parking area. We slowly kind of made it a place for drivers, and everything you see it's not just something that we just thought about, but we kind of asked people, we tested it, then when it worked, we kind of implemented it. So in terms of our own stats, we haven't had any break-ins or breakthroughs onto site. And we do take it really seriously. I mean, we charge customers to park on a site, and part of that, we give that service back. So when you do come to site, you know that you're safe and secure and you can have a restful night's sleep.
We would like to work in partnership with any businesses in the UK that are either hauliers, freight forwarders. We are the bridge between policing and industry. Even though I've got a badge in my pocket and I'm a serving police officer, we work with business and industry to help keep businesses better prepared and to hopefully make sure and ensure that they don't become a victim of crime. We're delighted to be working in partnership with the British International Freight Association. We've worked with BIFA for the last 5 years. The new partnership that has been recently agreed will ensure that members will get fortnightly access to the National Freight Crime Intelligence Bulletins to keep businesses, freight forwarders, hauliers better informed around national freight crime, and also help keep businesses better prepared.
They do send us weekly and bi-monthly reports and kind of roundtable meets on what's happening in certain areas. They liaise with our guards as well. So we've got a manager who looks after parking alone. He's regularly in contact with NaVCIS just to find out where things are there, what we can do better and what's best practices. So NaVCIS are really good.
So we're building a new MSA in Warrington, but we're working closely with NaVCIS and the stakeholder group to really design something quite different in the world of HGV parking, and we're really quite excited about what those designs bear fruit of it.
So if there are any BIFA members that would like to get more involved with the work at NaVCIS, if you drop us a line at NaVCIS, we can obviously work more closely together.